Hello, Mr. Tidbits here, and today I'm here to show you how to make some cream cheese using raw milk and kefir grains or whey. This is the easiest way to make cream cheese in my opinion, and we actually came across this cream cheese once when we go into our local dairy that we get our raw milk from, and they had cream cheese there once and it was amazing. And so I set out to find how to make cream cheese that way. Now the cream cheese, the cream you buy in the stores is often just milk that's had chemicals placed in it to thicken it, and so it's really not real cream. So the cream that I'm going to use in my recipe today is raw, fresh cream from the dairy. It's unpasteurized, just straight off the top of the milk that came out of the cow. And you can use one of three things to culture it, basically turn it thick, is kefir grains, straight kefir, or whey that you get from yogurt making or cheese making. The whey needs to be fairly recent. It can't be more than about 2 or 3 days old, or else it starts losing its potency. But today I'm just going to use kefir grains because I don't have any whey or any kefir that's been sitting long enough to turn into kefir. So basically pop open your jug of cream. Now you're gonna add, this is a 32 ounces of cream. You're gonna add just 1 tablespoon of kefir grain to it. So I'm gonna fish out a kefir grain here. So yeah, this is some kefir that I've got sitting on the countertop to become kefir tomorrow. So still milk with just kefir grains in it. So I got plenty of kefir grains in there. I'm gonna pull one out, about a tablespoon of kefir grains, and just drop it in that cream. You don't need to stir it up or agitate it any at all. It'll probably sink a little bit, but then it'll float to the top after a few hours. And then you just throw your lid on it. Now you're gonna let that sit for about 24 hours. You can check it once in a while, see if it's thickened up, and we can show you that process, but it usually takes about 24 hours. You let it sit too long and it'll turn into to sour cream, and you don't want that. That's not quite what cream cheese should be like. So we'll just sit that, and about every 4 or so hours I'll check it to see if it's thickening up at all, any thicker than it already is. And then we'll go jump to that process then. Okay, so we're back. It's actually been about 30 hours. The cream is well thickened up. Time really varies on acidity of the milk, the potency of your kefir grains, but just keep an eye on it every little while. You see, once it gets to a really thick consistency, you know you're ready. So I'll start out, in my case where I used a kefir grain, I'll pull that kefir grain out, and we'll drop that back into my kefir milk that I'm making for tomorrow. And now we're ready to strain it. So you're gonna need something to tie the cheesecloth to suspend it up in the air. I just use a spatula, and we have a pitcher here that's tall enough. You want something tall enough that the bag of that's inside the cheesecloth will be suspended and not sitting down in your whey. Because this point here, we're gonna strain off the whey. So I have a cheesecloth that I double up. This is 60 pound here. Anything thinner, it just seems like it doesn't hold all of it in there. So we'll go ahead and just pour that right in. See how thick it is. You will run to a little bit thinner on the bottom, but that's fine. That's typically where the whey tends to go and sit anyway. So and when you're done putting everything in that, you want to grab those 4 corners of your cheesecloth, and you can kind of gently squeeze it so you get some residual cream out. And we're just going to take our stick. If you have 4 corners there, you can just put them right between the 4 corners. Tie that up good and tight. Okay, so now I'll just let that sit. You can start to see some of the whey dripping out already. It needs to sit for about 4 hours, 4 to 6 hours. And when you stop seeing whey dripping, that's about when it's done. And it should make a really thick cream cheese-like consistency after that. So it is a little messy, but it'll be delicious when it's done. Okay, so we've let this cream cheese sit for about 4 hours. You can see the whey that has dropped out, and it is ready. It's kind of quit dropping. You can feel it is pretty good and hard. So just take it out, and there you have it. Some nice spreadable cream cheese that's all ready with a great flavor and Super easy. You can do it the way you see it on, there's a bunch of recipes online for using regular milk and boiling it and using lemon juice, but to me this is the easiest route. You just throw in some whey, kefir, or kefir grains and wait for a bit, and it just turns into a great cream cheese that tastes amazing on bagels. So yeah, you may have some creamy sections in through there, but just kind of mix it up. But it'll harden up in the fridge. But right now it's about the perfect consistency to spread. So yeah, once you put it in the fridge, it'll really harden up just like cream cheese from the store will. Okay, so there you have it. Some fresh raw cream cheese that doesn't require boiling or lemon juice or anything like that. Don't expect it to be the same texture and flavor as what you find in the store. The stuff in the store is typically used with chemicals to thicken it and pull out them as much whey as they can. It turns into a solid brick. This stuff tends to stay a little bit creamier, softer, which is good. And the flavor is much richer. And depending on how long you let it sit with the kefir grains in it, or how long it sat to thicken, it can have a sour taste to it, but just play with it and how long you want it to go. And it never really tastes bad in my opinion. So yeah, on the blog we'll have, if you don't have kefir grains, there's other options, kefir grains, kefir, or just whey if you're making cheese or yogurt. All those would work great, but we talk about that on the blog. So feel free to go there and check that out, and just follow us for more inspiration for the keeper of the home.